Every night, at exactly the same time, the dog would walk into the hallway. He would sit down and stare at the wall. At first, his owner didn't think much about it. Dogs did strange things sometimes. Maybe he heard a noise. Maybe he smelled something. But the behavior continued, night after night. The dog's name was Charlie. Charlie was a 3-year-old Labrador, friendly, playful, and normally full of energy. But every evening around midnight, Charlie suddenly became very serious. He would walk slowly down the hallway, sit in the exact same spot, and stare at the same wall, not barking, not scratching, just staring. His owner, Daniel, first noticed it one weekend. He woke up to get a glass of water, and there was Charlie, sitting quietly in the hallway, looking straight at the wall. "Charlie," Daniel whispered. The dog didn't move. He just kept staring. Daniel shrugged and went back to bed. But the next night, it happened again. The night after that. And the night after that, soon it became impossible to ignore. Every single night, Charlie sat there, watching the wall like something was behind it. Daniel tried to laugh it off. Maybe mice. Maybe pipes inside the wall. Maybe Charlie was just bored. Still, the dog's behavior felt strange. One night, Daniel decided to test something. He walked down the hallway and stood beside Charlie. The dog didn't react. His eyes stayed locked on the same spot. Daniel leaned closer to the wall. And suddenly, he heard something. A faint sound, like scratching. Very quiet, very soft. Daniel stepped back. "That's weird," he murmured. The next morning, he checked the wall again. But during the day, everything was silent. No sounds, no movement. That night, Charlie returned to the hallway again, sat down, and stared. This time, Daniel stayed awake. He sat quietly in the living room, waiting, around midnight. Charlie walked down the hallway. Just like always, Daniel followed him slowly. Charlie sat down and stared at the wall again. And then, Daniel heard it clearly. Scratching. Soft movement. Something inside the wall. His heart skipped a beat. Carefully, Daniel knocked on the wall. The scratching suddenly stopped. Then it started again, louder this time. Daniel grabbed a flashlight and inspected the wall closely. Near the bottom corner, there was a tiny crack, small enough that he had never noticed it before. But now he could see something strange. Dust, moving slightly. Something was definitely inside. Daniel grabbed a small tool from the garage. He carefully removed part of the drywall. The hole became bigger, and then suddenly, 2 tiny eyes looked back at him. A small kitten was trapped inside the wall, weak, dirty, and terrified. Daniel froze for a moment. "How did you get in there?" The kitten tried to meow, but the sound was barely audible. Charlie stood up immediately. His tail wagged slowly. Daniel carefully widened the hole and reached inside. The kitten was thin, clearly stuck there for days. He gently pulled it out and wrapped it in a towel. Charlie sniffed the tiny animal carefully, then licked its head softly, as if he had been worried the entire time. Daniel laughed quietly in disbelief. All this time, he looked at Charlie. "You were trying to tell me—" Charlie wagged his tail proudly. The next morning, Daniel took the kitten to the vet. The veterinarian said something surprising. If you hadn't found her soon, she probably wouldn't have survived. Daniel thought about that for a moment. Then he looked at Charlie sitting beside him, smiling like dogs do, calm, satisfied. Because sometimes dogs don't bark, they don't scratch, they simply wait till their humans finally understand what they're trying to say. And sometimes, a dog staring at a wall is actually a dog saving a life.